Nathan Carter? He wasn't one to go in for that fate stuff. Not at all. Logic and facts, that was his game. Building his life on solid ground, not some airy-fairy feeling. So there he was, sitting in his car outside this kinda dim restaurant. And he could barely believe he let his sister talk him into it. "This is nuts, Emma," he groaned, gripping the steering wheel like his life depended on it. Emma Carter, his older sister, and man, could she be persistent, was standing right outside his window, arms crossed, wearing that same, you-know-what-eating grin she'd been perfecting since grade school. "Nate, come on," she says, "you're 32, single. And if I let you, you'd spend every night just buried in code, talking only to your computer. I'm just trying to help you get a life." "By setting me up on a blind date?" he asked. "Exactly," she said, grinning. "Her name's Lily Monroe. She's a nurse. Smart, kind, trust me, you'll dig her." Nathan sighed, figuring he was cornered. He grabbed his keys and muttered, "Fine, but this is definitely the last time." Emma just smirked, like, "Yeah, right." Stepping into the restaurant's warm light, Nathan reminded himself, keep it simple, smile, be polite, end the night quick. But as soon as his eyes landed on the woman at the corner table, his whole plan went sideways. Because the second he saw Lily Monroe, something clicked in his brain. A memory just out of reach. He'd seen her before, somewhere. And then it smacked him. She wasn't just any nurse. She was his nurse. Nathan slowed down, his heart doing a drum solo as he locked eyes with the woman at the corner table. Lily Monroe. She hadn't changed much from what he remembered. Same soft eyes, hair pulled back neat, same kind of quiet way about her. But Nathan couldn't shake it. He knew her. Taking a deep breath, he thought, maybe I'm tripping. Maybe it's just a coincidence. But as he got closer, Lily looked up, and for a split second, he saw something flicker in her eyes. Hesitation, maybe recognition. Gone in a flash. She smiled and stood up, hand outstretched. "Nathan," she said, her voice gentle. He shook her hand, holding it a beat too long. "Lily, nice to meet you." They sat down, a little quiet hanging in the air, before Lily spoke up. "Emma tells me you're some kind of tech whiz?" She was teasing him, her tone playful. Nathan chuckled, shaking his head. "Whiz is pushing it. I run a software company. Nothing too wild." "Sounds way more impressive than me," Lily replied. "I'm just a nurse." Nathan raised an eyebrow. "Just a nurse? Pretty sure saving lives trumps staring at a screen all day long." She smiled, but he caught something. A flicker of uncertainty, or maybe discomfort. He saw it, but decided to let it slide. Instead, he asked, "So, how'd Emma rope you into this?" Lily laughed softly, a real sound. "One of my patients is friends with her. Apparently you're a nice guy, but, tragically unavailable. So I thought, why the heck not?" Nathan smirked. "Tragically unavailable. Huh? Think it's true?" She tilted her head slightly, asking the question. Nathan wanted to deny it, but way down deep, he knew it wasn't that far off. "Okay, send me the next part when you're ready. I'm trying to keep the tone consistent and apply all the instructions. Let me know if you'd like me to adjust anything." The truth was, for the past 3 years, he'd been buried alive in his work, keeping any kind of real relationship at arm's length. He sighed. "Yeah, I guess you're right. I let myself stay busy, that's for sure." Lily just nodded, and there was something knowing in her eyes. Everyone's running from something, aren't they? That comment hit him harder than he expected, some unspoken weight landing right between them. He didn't know what to say, or if he should say anything. Then, out of nowhere, a memory popped up. Hospital hallways, that sterile smell of disinfectant, a gentle hand tucking in his blanket when he was too beat up to even move on his own. Nathan blinked, staring harder at Lily. The pieces of the puzzle started clicking into place. "You were there," he mumbled, his voice barely above a whisper. Lily froze. "What? 3 years ago, after my car wreck, you were my nurse." She didn't say anything for a second, but he saw her fingers tighten around her glass. Then she smiled. "Too perfect, too fake." "You're mistaken," she said, kind of firm. "We've never met before tonight." Nathan leaned back, watching her closely. She was lying, plain and simple. He didn't know why, but he knew she remembered him. She just didn't want to admit it. You sure about that? Nathan asked, keeping his voice soft. Lily's smile didn't budge. I think I'd remember if we'd met before. But he caught it, that little bit of tension in her hands, the quick flicker in her eyes, before she looked away. Nathan nodded slow. He knew pushing it right now wouldn't get him anywhere. If she wasn't ready to talk, she wasn't going to. All right, he said, taking a sip of water. Maybe I'm wrong. Lily visibly relaxed when he changed the subject. They talked about their jobs, travel, and books, but Nathan couldn't shake the thought. Something was being left unsaid, hanging there between them. Later that night, sitting in his car, Nathan opened up an old folder on his phone called Recovery. Inside were pictures from his time in the hospital. His totaled car, medical bills, even a blurry selfie Emma took of him in a wheelchair. He scrolled through them, stopping at one that made his breath catch. On the bedside table, you could see his hospital bracelet, and next to it, a little note with delicate handwriting. Stay strong, Nathan. The road ahead is tough, but you're tougher to break. Nathan took a deep breath. No other nurse had done anything like that for him. It had to be Lily. He stared at those words for a long time before finally grabbing his phone. Without thinking too much, he called her. She picked up on the third ring. Nathan. She sounded surprised. Hey, I don't want to make things weird, he started, trying to keep it light. But I can't stop thinking about this. There was a pause on the other end. I don't know what you mean, Nathan, Lily said, her voice steady. Lily, you wrote me a note, Nathan pressed, staring at the picture on his screen. A little message on my bedside table. I still have it. He could hear her take a sharp breath. Nathan, I'm not trying to corner you, he said quickly, keeping his voice gentle but firm. I just need to understand. Let me know if you want me to tweak anything. Ready for the next part when you are. Why won't you just admit it? He asked, a little louder this time. Lily looked away, her jaw tightening, a whole storm of emotions flashing across her face. Denial, regret, and something even deeper that she just wouldn't name. Finally, she let out a breath, her voice barely a whisper. Because if I admit it, then it becomes real. And if it's real, it means I matter to you in a way I never should have. And then she just hung up on him. Nathan stared at his phone, frustration and a whole lot of confusion twisting up inside him. No way. This wasn't just some ancient history. Not when it was still messing with him like this. Nathan couldn't shake the thought of Lily, no matter how hard she tried to shut him down. If the past didn't matter, then why'd she react like that? What the heck was she hiding? For the next few days, he kept his distance, but those questions just wouldn't leave him alone. This wasn't just some coincidence, he knew it. Then one afternoon, during his lunch break, Nathan stopped by this little cafe near the hospital where Lily worked. He wasn't trying to run into her, not really, but when she walked in, he knew he couldn't just ignore it. Their eyes locked right away. She hesitated for just a second, let out a quiet sigh, and then walked over to his table. Are you following me now? She asked, her tone kinda teasing, but still cautious. Nathan raised an eyebrow. Just a coincidence. But since you're here, maybe we should talk this thing through. She hesitated again, then pulled out a chair. He didn't want to push her, but he couldn't act like nothing had happened either. I just don't get it, Nathan said. Why deny it? It was just a note. It's not that big of a deal. Lily stared down into her coffee, thinking it over. Finally, she mumbled, because I didn't want to be part of your past. I didn't want you to look at me and only see some reminder of something painful. Nathan was quiet. He hadn't thought about it like that before. But to him, Lily wasn't just some memory from a rough time. She was the reason he'd gotten through it. He looked at her, and for the first time, really saw the hesitation in her eyes, that uncertainty. Lily, you weren't just someone who took care of me when I was laid up. You were the reason I got back on my feet. She looked up at him. Something unreadable flickered across her face. Not a denial, but not exactly acceptance either. I don't know, Nathan, she admitted softly. I don't know if I can let this become something more. Nathan knew Lily was still dealing with her own stuff, but whether she was ready to admit it or not, their past had already tied them together, and this time, he wasn't going to walk away. Nathan hadn't seen Lily in the days after their cafe talk, but she was always on his mind. He wasn't sure if she needed some space or if she was trying to push him away, but he knew one thing. This wasn't over. Then, late one night, his phone rang and it was some number he didn't know. He hesitated for a sec before answering. Nathan. Lily's voice sounded rushed, unsteady. Lily? What's wrong? He sat right up, knowing something was wrong from her voice. It's Noah, my brother. He's having trouble breathing. I'm taking him to the hospital. But Nathan didn't even think about it. He grabbed his keys. I'll be there. Nathan, you don't have to dash. I'm not asking, Lily. I'm coming. He didn't give her a chance to argue before hanging up. As he sped towards the hospital, a heavy feeling settled in his gut. He'd never met Noah, but the way Lily talked about him, he knew the kid was her whole world, and if anything happened to him, it'd break her heart. When Nathan got to the hospital, he found Lily standing outside the emergency room, hugging herself tight. She looked smaller than usual and just plain worn out. When she saw him, there was a flicker of something in her eyes, like she wanted him to go away, but instead she just let out a shaky breath. He's inside. The doctors said his breathing attack was worse than usual. Her voice was trembling. Nathan didn't say anything. He just stood there next to her. After a long silence, she finally spoke. I didn't want you to see this part of my life, Nathan. I don't want anyone to see it. He turned to her, his eyes steady. Lily, if I'm only here for the easy parts, then I don't deserve to be here at all. She looked at him for a long moment, searching his face. Then, for the first time, she didn't push him away. Lily wasn't sure why she let Nathan stay that night. Maybe she was just plain exhausted. Maybe it was the huge fear of losing Noah, or maybe it was something else, something deeper that she wasn't ready to deal with. Either way, when Nathan sat down next to her in the waiting room, she didn't tell him to leave. Time crawled by. The hospital at night was spooky quiet, filled only with the nurses hurrying around and the low hum of machines. Nathan didn't say much, but he didn't leave either, and somehow just him being there made her feel a little calmer, which she didn't even realize she needed. Near dawn, the doctor finally came out, smiling a little. Noah is stable. He'll need to stay a few days so we can keep an eye on him, but he's out of danger now. Lily almost collapsed with relief. She nodded, thanked the doctor, then turned to Nathan. You don't have to stay anymore. He's okay now. Nathan tilted his head like he was thinking about it, then just said, I'm not going anywhere. A few hours later, when Lily was finally allowed into Noah's room, Nathan went with her. The 16-year-old looked tired but was wide awake, his eyes full of mischief when he saw the guy standing next to his sister. So, you've got a boyfriend and didn't even tell me? Lily let out a tired sigh. Nathan's just a friend. Noah raised an eyebrow at her, then looked at Nathan. You sure about that? Nathan smirked, not entirely. Lily rolled her eyes, but for the first time in days, she was smiling a little. Nathan didn't leave in the days that followed. He showed up every morning at the hospital with coffee for Lily, brought books and magazines to help her kill time, and even played chess with Noah when the kid started getting bored. At first, Lily tried to keep her distance, but it was hard to ignore a guy who stayed by her side without expecting a dang thing back. One evening, when Nathan handed her a warm takeout box instead of a usual dry hospital sandwich, Lily just studied him for a long time before sighing. Why are you doing this? Nathan leaned back, shrugging. Because I care, plain and simple. You don't have to. Lily, he said, tilting his head a little. I know you're used to doing everything on your own, but nobody said you got to do it forever. She just got quiet. Part of her wanted to push him away to keep herself from getting hurt, but another part, the part she'd been trying to ignore, wanted to believe that maybe, just maybe, things could be different this time. A few weeks after Noah got out of the hospital, Nathan invited them to a picnic by the lake. Lily was going to say no, but Noah jumped at the chance, leaving her with no choice. As the sun started going down, turning everything golden, Noah wandered off to find a good fishing spot. Nathan sat next to Lily, reached into his pocket, and pulled out a small velvet box. Lily froze, her heart skipping a beat. Nathan took a deep breath before pulling out the small velvet box. He opened it up, and there was a ring inside. Simple, classic, just like how he felt about her. "Lily," he started, his voice softer than usual. "I'm not asking you to change your life. I'm asking you to share it with me. Every tough moment, every good one. I don't want to just stand by and watch. I want to stand right next to you. Always." He paused, looking over at Noah, who was skipping stones on the water. "I love you. I love him. And if you'll have me, I want us to be a family." Lily swallowed hard, tears welling up in her eyes. She'd spent years running, scared of what could hurt her. But this time, she didn't want to run. "Yes," she whispered. "I'll marry you." A year later, Lily was standing in the middle of the schoolyard, watching Noah with pride as he gave his science project presentation. He designed a portable air filter for people with breathing problems, inspired by what he'd gone through. She could see how excited he was, how hopeful he looked. Nathan was standing next to her, hands in his pockets, just as proud as she was. When people started clapping, Lily smiled at him. "You kept your promise." Nathan raised an eyebrow. "Which one?" She squeezed his hand, her voice soft but full of meaning. "You didn't leave." Nathan squeezed her hand back. "Because I never planned to." After the presentation, the three of them walked back to the car. Noah was clutching his most innovative idea medal, talking a mile a minute about his project. When they got home, he ran inside, leaving Lily and Nathan standing outside as the sunset turned everything golden. Lily looked at Nathan, her heart full in a way she'd never let it be before. "Thank you," she said quietly, her voice full of feeling. Nathan tilted his head. "For what?" She smiled. "Let me know if you need any further tweaks or adjustments. I've tried my best to keep it consistent with all the guidelines you provided." Smiled, feeling lighter than she had in years. "For staying, for becoming someone I could trust." Nathan reached out, tucking a stray hair behind her ear. "Lily, I told you we're a family now." She took a deep breath, letting those words sink in deep. Family. It used to seem like some impossible dream, but now, with Nathan and Noah, she knew she didn't have to carry the whole load by herself anymore. For the first time in a long time, Lily truly believed that she could actually be happy. And this time, she wasn't afraid of it.